I have some questions that we received through email when I emailed out yesterday, and Harald, you've had a few questions that we thought it was worth going through. But I'll start with those, and then Joel, if you have anything comes to mind for you, just call out.
Can you hear me?
Oh, now we can.
Yes.
Hey.
Oh, good.
Hey.
Great. That's better.
Great. Yeah, so this call was really just to have a chance to have a conversation with anyone considering investing and answer some of the questions that have come up. Yeah, so I don't know if you have any questions, Joel.
Yes, I do have one main question. I want to hear from you, what is the main purpose of Agility Scale and what you're doing actually?
What a great question. Let's start at the very beginning. So the main purpose is to help organizations be shapeshifters, as I have always called it since the beginning, to help them change faster. And that is the main concern of many corporations and businesses nowadays, that they're unable to keep up with all the change that's going on in the world. And I was inspired by other apps and platforms that help people to adopt new habits at the personal level, whether it is personal exercise or meditation or whatever. And I've also been inspired by games, gamified environments that help people change their behavior. So I thought, why not create a platform and an app that helps organizations change, or at least the people working at those organizations, with agile practices and whatever could be healthy habits for them. So the same kind of content is usually offered through PowerPoint presentations, but then in a more modern way, I suppose. And that's how we got started. That's the original vision.
And based on that, what do you think about connecting with people? Because if we use an application to give some advice or good practice to people, bring that to people, and I know of what I'm doing, it's very important to have contact and to know people and to have discussion with them. And how do you see that? How it works?
Well, that I would like to compare with personal trainers, which is a huge industry nowadays, who help people both co-located and remotely to improve their health. And they do that using apps and devices, and they monitor people through statistics and everything. So the platform, the technologies should basically assist people's communication with their personal trainers. And for us, the people that we want to work with are agile coaches and consultants, lean coaches, consultants, or whatever they want to call themselves. They should be the primary people using this platform to have an easier way to collaborate with those in need of good practices. So it's just a different way of people getting together, collaborating, and using some technology where that might make sense, giving people journeys to follow and gamifying progress so that it becomes a bit more fun. But there will always be people involved. Just like most social platforms out there, just get people connected, and then it's up to the people to make good use of those connections.
Okay. And I heard you say that most of agility transformation does not bring what we expect from it. Sometimes we have probably around 20% of optimization or gain or something that works. And a big part is, from my point of view, is on the management side. That's why I became a Management 3.0 and a facilitator. I think it can help bring agility in the organization. And based on that, how do you think that what we will do in agility scale will help bringing more agility in our an organization?
Yeah, so what we see is that there are lots of top-down transformations in the world, sold in many cases by large coaching consultancy companies and the like, and they have a not so good reputation in terms of success rates. I think, and many coaches, consultants seem to agree, that you primarily need a bottom-up approach where there's a groundswell movement starting at the team level, and then at some point, of course, you need managers involved. That is why I have focused on Management 3.0 in the past, because it's very important to get them engaged. But often it starts at the lower levels, and then hopefully you get the top management support at some point. Otherwise, it stalls. It stops in the middle levels. So we are convinced that we have to start bottom up. That is how we have always seen our approach with our platform that we're building, Mindsetters. We want it to be used by individual team members and their teams. So we do not focus on management now. We definitely do not focus on executives. Let other people do that for a while. We want to start first trying to build a platform that people individually like to use to explore new ideas and try new practices and make it a bit more fun to change their behaviors with their teams. And once we have achieved that, then I am convinced that people will go to the managers and say, hey, can you get the corporate credit card? Because we want the professional features of this product. And then it could grow bottom up. In a similar way as Trello and Slack and many other apps and platforms have grown bottom up. It's just individual workers use those platforms, and then at some point they say, this is so useful, I want the whole team and organization, whole company to use this. And then they basically do the advocacy inside the organization. I think that's the best approach also for agile transformation, that it is bottom up, and then at some point you try to get the commitment from top management. But they need to see that people are enthusiastic about something that seems beneficial for the company.
Okay. I don't know what you saw in the company you've been, but what I'm doing here in Canada is what I see, it's probably more than 50% of the managers are not really managers. I mean, they are kind of professional people that wanted to be a manager or wanted to be a director written on their card or something like that. But it's very difficult for them to manage. Even in a management 3.0 approach or a traditional approach, they prefer to continue doing their professional job. So what I see, it's around 50% of them. So when we start from the bottom of the enterprise with the team, they encountered very, very fast some impediment with the management. That's why it's difficult for me to help them. It's always in that part. So I'm seeking for something to help me to help them to first of all understand what is happening, and after that doing something with that.
Yeah, I totally understand the issue. We do not focus specifically on management at this point, because we believe that is the next step. As I said, first we need to build something that teams like. If we do not have something that teams like, then it also makes no sense to go to the managers. So first get something up and running, and then working really hard on that teams like using for themselves. And then, we hope and trust that there will be good practices in the platform added by coaches and consultants who say, well, this is how you can deal with the management layer, because you're not the only one struggling with that problem. I get the question all the time, how do we deal with the managers? That's why I have been focusing on Management 3.0 for the last 10 years. So there will definitely be more and more practices for management layers. in the platform once we are successful, and then hopefully we can move our way up up the corporate ladder with this idea. Yeah.
I would say too, we really are trying to build this platform so that we have a structure that could work for any role or any type of work area, right? Right now we're focused on Agile coaches and Scrum Masters in terms of the content in there, because we can't, of course, help everyone. But there's absolutely no reason the whole ecosystem couldn't work for managers, right? That we absolutely could deliver that.
Yep. Yeah.
I think it could be extremely helpful for that 50% if we had the right content in there. I don't think we probably have the right content that they need right now, since we're focused on Agile coaches. But
yeah, but that will come once the infrastructure is in place and things are working from a gamification perspective and everything. We're making decent progress there. Then other kinds of content will surely be added over time.
Okay, I think it was in the presentation I received, but concerning that, so do you think that there's more value to bring to the teams actually than to the management, or maybe there's both ways approach, one with management 3.0 and the other one with agility scales, to bring both sides working together, I mean the managers and the team?
Yeah, sure. I don't want to replace everything that we have achieved so far with Measure 3.0, but there's a lot of other great methods, toolboxes, frameworks, etc., full of good ideas, whether it is Scrum, Kanban, Holacracy, Sociocracy, liberating structures, game storming, you name it. There's a lot of great content and good ideas out there. And we, with the Agility Skills team and our platform, Mind Settlers, we want to be neutral and give a new place for the coaches and consultants and experts to share their ideas and develop new ideas and bring them to the audience that needs it. So in that sense, Measure 3.0 is just one of many toolboxes that hopefully can find a new place on the platform. So more questions about the funding specifically, Joel?
No, that's fine. This part is fine for me. Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Thank you for your answers.
Yeah, no problem. And Paula, we had the other questions submitted before about funding.
Yeah. So we had some that were simple. Can companies, legal entities invest? Let's knock that one off. That's simple. Yes, absolutely. And when does ownership of the shares actually transfer to the buyer was another question.
Well, that's by default. When people have paid and signed the agreement, then they are owner. There is no official document on paper or anything. Everything is digital nowadays. So that is the proof that you are owner. If you have that signed document and you have evidence of payment, that's it.
Yeah, you've got it.
From that moment, we recognize you as a shareholder, and we add it to our own records, of course. But that's the least interesting part, I suppose.
Yeah. Great. And then there was one person asked, who is the managing director of JoJo Ventures? So
that will be me.
That's you. Yes.
That's my personal company. That's me incorporated.
Yes. So it still is Jurgen. When I think looking through the official documents, that was
right.
Out of that. Yeah. And what is the price of a share? Was another
€5.
We got €5.
Yeah.
And how much funding are we seeking? I mean, I think that's in our details, but we can answer that question.
It's about 75,000 per month. That's the burn rate that we try to stick to at this point with the team that we have and all the other expenses. So yeah, just multiply that by any number of months. That is the funding that we're looking at. So what we're trying continuous funding as a different approach, or no big runway of 1 year or whatever. We just go through the motions month by month, and then sometimes we might focus on the crowd, and sometimes we might focus on angel investors and others, because we also have those conversations that keep going on. So we want to be more agile in our approach, but the burn rate is 75,000.
Yep, good. Great, and then there was another question which is interesting. It says, I'm based in Copenhagen. How do you see agility scaling on a country basis? And can a capital investment dovetail with an opportunity in a local market? I'm not quite sure what that means, but...
Me neither. How does anything in the Google App Store scale across countries? I mean, by default, it is available worldwide. So
right,
we already operate as a micro multinational, as some people call that nowadays.
We do, and I mean, right now we're looking at a few partner, experiments with teams. Happy to do that in Denmark if there's a team that wants to use it and test it. The other thing is languages. I think we're sticking with English for now.
Oh, definitely, yes. Yeah.
We're going to stick with English.
Not planning to translate.
We're not to the point yet of having translations.
No, and also not at the point that we're going to start local subsidiaries or whatever. Let's first focus on something that works from product market perspective at the global level. And if anything needs to be done locally, we'll worry about that for later.
Agree. Once we're scaling, that's when we would look at partners and
exactly.
and outlets.
We're not
in local markets. So yeah.
Okay, those were your questions, Paula, that you received.
Yeah, those were the ones I had listed. Harold, did you have any others?
Yes,
some of those were what I received. But Joel, sorry.
Yeah, just one question. Can we invest? Like we do when we pay a bill. I mean, if I would like to invest this month and invest in January, can it be possible?
Ongoing?
Harold, you can answer that question.
Well, I mean, we have a minimum investment amount, and you can invest that in every month, every second month. There's nothing that can stop you as long as you're happy with the minimum. The second time round is a lot easier because we will then have exchanged information about yourself. We need to do a little diligence on the investors, ask for ID verification and so that will be done the first time round. So the second time will be very easy.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's what I would like to say.
And the signature process is fully electronic. Takes a few seconds if you to complete. So see no question, no reason why you shouldn't be able to do it multiple times.
Exactly, but you need to take into account that there are some benefits with certain amounts of investments. If there's 2,500 investment, then you have a good chance of earning a free for life license to use the platform, and at 7,500 free talk by yours truly at any location of your preference. So I don't know how that works if you want to invest in chunks per month, but the administrative details you can discuss with Harold.
Good. Thank you.
All right, great. So I think that's it. Any more questions from anyone?
Will we receive some dividends based on this investment, or when it will be?
Good question. So the normal approach for basically all startups around the world is that there are no dividends. That there is an exit at some point, usually after around 6, 7, 8 years, and the exit is either sale to another company or an IPO, but that is rare. Usually the company is sold to a larger organization, a large corporation, and then you get an X time return on your investment. For startups, it makes no sense to pay dividends because they need the money just to operate and to scale. Dividends are usually for large companies. So it is not a normal approach to pay dividends. The idea is you get an exit a number of years down the line, and we aim for that exit to be a good multiple on what you have invested. But of course, it's a risky investment. That's what startups are. That's the whole point. Yeah, we hope that we make something beautiful that somebody else wants to buy a number of years down the line.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Good.
One last thing I thought worth a mention too is we published this past month that we have public metrics that we're measuring and that we're going to sort of put out there for our investors to see, since we're moving to this more agile crowdfunding round with smaller sort of milestones that we're trying to hit. We're making a lot of that transparent. So November 1st is the next lot of numbers that we'll be publishing to compare against October. And so that's definitely something to keep an eye on if you decide to become an investor. You're going to be able to see the progress as we go.
That's good. That's good.
Okay, good. Well, then I think we've covered all the questions that we had submitted beforehand and asked in real life by Joel, or during this conversation at least. So that's it. Wrapping it up, Paula?
Yep, that's great. And I'm going to post this publicly, the Q&A, so we may get some people watching it who are new to it. And agilityscales.com/invest is where you go. If you're interested in getting the full pitch deck. And Joel, you have all the resources in your email for the extended stuff. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Thanks for coming. We'll get this out to everyone.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Thanks for joining.
All right.
See you around.
Take care, everyone.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.